Coffee with milk, please.
We only have plant milk. Is that okay?
Stop! It's not okay. And if something like this has happened to you, you need to call me, Seymour Loudermilk, right now. If you've had your feelings hurt by a vegan, you could be entitled to compensation.
Oat milk, soy milk, almond milk?
No thanks. I'll have louder milk. And I'll see you in court.
Get more with Seymour. Call 866-HATE-VEGANS. HateVegans.com.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, this is weird.
This is weird. Listener, we've moved from Zoom to Riverside as our recording platform, and it took us a good half an hour to work out how to invite guests.
In fairness, it might as well have taken 6 months.
Yeah, true. And we're not convinced that any of it's recorded or that it'll be editable or listenable. So if you're listening to this, yay. Obviously, if you're not listening to it, we'll never know. So there we go. Anyway, Wes, how are you?
I'm good. So we're recording this the day before the summer solstice.
Yes.
And so anyone that lives in the UK currently knows that the weather's actually gone summery.
Yeah, well, summer started today. It's amazing.
Yeah, but the great thing is, and I'm not saying that anything's changed yet, but it's sunny, but it's copable. It's nice. It's just, it's a proper summer's day, like I had when I was a little wee boy of a 7-year-old. It was just like a normal summer day. Apparently, it's going to get hotter over the weekend, so I'll start whinging on Saturday that look at climate change, look at global warming. If you stopped eating meat, we'd be all right. But I'm all right for now.
Okay.
But summer solstice tomorrow morning, I'm going to get up and watch the sun come up.
What time?
4:38. Apparently.
Jeez. Do you have a good eastern aspect from your house? I'm not sure which way it points. Yeah.
It's all right over the north end of Saddleworth Moor. Blackstone Edge, it's called.
Right. Okay.
Straight out my bedroom window. But I'm going to get up. Make a coffee.
Straight out of bedroom.
Watch the sun come up. Watch the sun come up and go and do some yoga afterwards.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome. Can I come too?
Yeah, if you want. Can you get up here in that time?
No. Also, I'm not getting up at 4 a.m.
Unless
I'm
you have
old.
to go to work.
Unless I have to go to work, in which case I will. But
how are you? Are you well?
I'm all right, thanks very much. Yeah, I'm all right.
Good.
We've got a discussion point.
Oh, why do you do this to me? Last time you brought discussion point, we had a complaint and we had to defend ourselves.
Well, this is your discussion point that we did talk about, but in a previous recording. But the internet signal was so diabolical, I had to cut the whole thing. So we've basically got to do it again. This is a bit like our first episode where we recorded it with no sound and then had to do it all over again.
So I've got to pretend that we've never done this before.
Yeah. And I'm definitely going to edit that bit out. Listener, I'm not going to edit it out. But don't tell Wes. Listener, he'll never know. Tell him, Matthew. Listener, he'll never know because he doesn't listen.
Go on, what's your discussion point?
Mayonnaise.
Oh, mayonnaise. Yes. So Hellmann's, I'm going to read their post out like I did last time. Thankfully, I've kept the screen capture, so I've got it. Hellmann's has rebranded a product to make it more inclusive, changing the name of its vegan mayonnaise to plant-based mayo. According to the brand, it will stop using the word vegan in a bid to be more inclusive, most notably towards flexitarians. While people following a flexitarian diet consume some animal products, God bless them, Hellmann's, that's not in the post, Hellmann's believes that dubbing the product plant-based mayo will make it more appealing to them. A spokesperson for Hellmann's said that the company carried out consumer research during which it discovered that the word vegan can be a barrier to some consumers, which I believe is a fair comment.
Yeah.
I think it's fair.
I know some people have got really annoyed that they've taken vegan off it, but honestly, if that's the thing that's putting people off eating it, then I don't really see what the big deal is. You know,
No.
it's still a vegan product, so we can still eat it. It's still on the shelf next to traditional mayonnaise, and if it means that someone eats it who wouldn't have eaten it before, and then they think, well, if mayonnaise can be plant-based, what else can be plant-based?
Exactly.
It might be the thing that's stopping somebody even considering going vegan, or if not going vegan, going, towards veganism. And that's what we need. We need imperfect vegans.
Yeah.
That's the thing that's going to make the real change,
Absolutely.
rather than a small number of so-called perfect vegans, which is a thing that doesn't exist. But imperfect vegans are the people who are going to make things change.
100%. And there's a beautiful comment in the post. I won't read out who it's by. But if you listen to this podcast and you know that this was you, please get in touch and we'll have you on the podcast, because it'd be brilliant.
Ooh.
The person said, why not just call it mayonnaise and let the people who need eggs to have to read every ingredient before purchase, just like vegans do. Have that. Such a fair point.
Yes.
Such a fair point.
Oh, yeah. I'm all over that. That's fantastic. Yeah, I'd love... well, that's a bit like VFC, calling it just like chicken wings or whatever. And then people are like, oh, wait, what?
Did you see the VFC font error?
Yes,
That
for the
was
chicken
brilliant.
mince. Yeah.
Oh dear.
It did look a lot like chicken minge, though. That was brilliant. Which I'm pretty sure isn't vegan.
In fairness, some people that eat chicken nuggets are probably eating chicken minge.
Oh.
Along with the beak, the neck, the throat, all the other bits you don't want to be eating.
Yeah.
Arsehole, I forgot the arsehole,
Yeah. Oh. God.
But we
used to be those people, Wes.
We did used to be those people, yeah.
God, I cannot imagine doing that now. That's
the
just
urban
mad.
myth. Do you remember the urban myth of someone going to KFC and biting into it, and they'd asked for no mayonnaise. They bit into it and it tasted like there was mayonnaise in it. Turned out it was a cyst or something.
What?
Yeah, right. It turned out it was a myth. But even thinking that was a story, still going to KFC and eat chicken. Why did I do it? It's why.
Oh, I just threw up in my mouth a little bit then. That is the most disgusting thing I've ever heard.
And even if you edit it out, you've still got to re-listen to it.
Oh God! Thank you for that.
Yeah, my point is, like I said, having heard that story, still returning and buying more.
Yes,
it's just wrong. It's just wrong on every level.
Yeah,
and I'm so sorry. I'm sorry to every chicken and cow and pig and fish that I ever ate. I'm so sorry.
I'm gonna have to put a trigger warning on this episode now. May cause vomiting.
And I'll never know if you edited or not.
No,
it's all good.
No, that's definitely staying in. Unlike my dinner, right? Thank you for that. Right, on that note, I think it's probably time that we speak to a guest.
Yes,
and we've already spoken to her, so we know that it's a great chat, and hopefully you'll enjoy it too. And if you enjoy it, why not come and tell us? Send us an email to howiveganpodcast@gmail.com
or find us on social medias at How I Vegan Podcast. Mostly Instagram. That's pretty much it, really. And that's fine. If you're listening, just subscribe and you'll see us anyway. Hear us. It's all good.
Yeah. That's it. Awesome.
See you in the outro.
See you in the outro. Oh, God. That genuinely made me feel sick. Well, here we go. This is the start of a new dawn of podcast recording. because now we're using Riverside instead of Zoom. So if it's an absolute shambles, then it's purely Riverside's fault and nothing to do with ours. And any
Of course.
previous listeners will know that's the only possible reason that it's gone wrong. Nothing to do with us being two old men who don't know anything technological. Anyway, we've got a guest today who lives in England and grew up in Northern Ireland on her family's dairy farm. Since turning
Gotcha.
vegan, she's created a successful social media profile with thousands of subscribers to her YouTube channel. Our guest is Sarah, aka Farm Girl Goes Vegan. Welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me. Great to be here.
Thank you for joining us. This is awesome. So, I mean, just from that short intro, I've got about 1 billion questions. But normally I'd say, what's the inspiration for your social media? And the fact that it's called Farm Girl Goes Vegan makes me think, let's just go straight in and say,
Yeah.
what? tell us
Yeah,
what is Farm
happens?
Girl Goes Vegan?
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know if I should just tell you like the story of how I went vegan maybe first, and then I can sort of tell you
Go
where
for
the
it.
page came from. Because, yeah, as you said, I grew up on a dairy farm in Northern Ireland. My dad's a dairy farmer. um, and like obviously, I didn't think anything of it at all. Like I didn't. It's just my dad's job. It's like he could have been working in an office. He could have been doing anything normal to me. It was just that's what my dad did. Normal. All the people I went to school with also lived on other farms, whether it be dairy farms, meat farms, the whole community farm-based. So completely normal. Until I think it was 2017 New Year's Day. And as you do on New Year's Eve, I got out and got very drunk. And I was feeling very sorry for myself the next day, which is really funny because I actually don't drink alcohol at all now. So times have changed. But I was feeling very sorry for myself. And for some reason, I was like, oh, I'll just have a look on Netflix and see what documentaries there are. Random, I know.
Okay.
And yeah, exactly as you do when you're hungover. And the first thing that came up was Cowspiracy, or Cowspiracy for English people who can't understand my accent. People was like, what conspiracy? A cowspiracy? And yeah, I was like, oh, I'm just going to watch this. This looks good. And so when I watched it, for anybody who hasn't watched it, it's obviously a documentary that's focused on the environmental impact of animal agriculture. And what I saw in that documentary shook me to my core. I was literally like, how can this be real? Because if this is real, why is the world not talking about it? Like, why don't we know about this? Why didn't I know about this? Like, this is crazy, basically. So I was sort of like, well, documentaries, they can be a bit biased. Maybe I'll just do a little bit of my own research. Just have a look, just see. And obviously what I found basically backed up everything that was in Cowspiracy. And I was like, oh no, no, I'm going to have to go vegan because I felt like I'm the kind of person who, if I find out information like that, I can't really turn away from it. I'm like, okay, now I'm actually going to have to go vegan, even though my family are dairy farmers. So this is going to be a problem. So yeah, fast forward to, actually the thing is I didn't tell my family for about a year because I only went home like once a year. It was easy to kind of avoid it. Like I was living in London, so it actually didn't matter. I was just living my vegan life and it was fine. And then it was like, oh, I think it was maybe my grandparents' anniversary or something like that. And mum gave me a call and was like, oh, hey, like you're obviously coming home for the grandparents', I think it was 60th wedding anniversary party. And she's like, and this is the food I'm making. I'm making a shepherd's pie, sausages, all this kind of stuff. Is that going to be good for you? And I was kind of like, well,
not the way you make it.
Yeah, about that, I'm actually, I'm actually not really eating animal products right now. And she was like, what? There was just like a audible silence for quite a while, and I was like, yeah. And then so she just sort of said, why? And I was like, well, and I tried to like sort of casually, but not really casually, explain about like animal agriculture and the impact of the environment and like all this kind of stuff. And she was just like, but your dad, you know, your dad's a dairy farmer. Like, our whole lives have been dairy farming. Like, you wouldn't have gone to university if it hadn't been for dad and the farm and all this kind of stuff, which, you know, it's a fair point. And like, I was like, you're right. I understand that. When I explained to them that it was more about the industrialization of agriculture, the massive systemic issues, the huge impact that it's having globally, I was not trying to target my dad. Like, it wasn't a personal attack on him. And once she kind of got to grips with that, I don't know if there were some maybe heated conversations in the background that I never heard, but once she came to terms with that, she was kind of like, okay, you know, we understand. And nobody had like a massive go at me or anything like that. It was more just like oh no, what are you going to eat? Like, what are we going to do? Like, are you going to waste away? Like, are you going to like perish? Was what my grandmother would say. Are you going to perish because you've nothing to eat? But after that initial kind of very awkward conversation, then I kind of stopped like trying to talk to them about it all the time. I wasn't going like, you guys need to do this, you need to do that. I was kind of like, this is my thing. If you see any aspects of it that you want to join in on, cool. If not, I'm just going to do my thing. And so it was at that point, a year after, that I actually started the Instagram page. And I think maybe I initially blocked them because I was just like, I don't really want my family to follow me. Like, I didn't really want them to like see what I was saying. And initially, actually, it was just like products I was finding. So it was less kind of activism-y. And obviously, eventually they found it. And now, like, I've got to say, now they are like the first people to like my posts. Like, they're very supportive. When I come home, they'll like get products in. Like, my dad will message me if he sees a good vegan product. He loves Beyond Burgers, ask for them to have for a barbecue for his birthday, for example. You know, they're not vegan, but they can at least appreciate what I'm doing, and they understand like, yeah, I mean, they understand more of like what's going on in the world, I think, just from what I've been trying to like say with my page, I guess. It was a very long-winded description, but that's kind of where we are now.
No, that's fascinating.
To be fair.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah. I could imagine absolutely dreading having to kind of out yourself to your parents in that way, to say all that, everything that you've ever done, I am now completely against.
Yeah, and it wasn't even just my parents. I guess that's another thing to add in, is like my whole family is quite agriculturally based. Like, my granny used to have like her own sort of little egg business, and like obviously her husband was my dad's dad. He was a farmer as well, which is why my dad became a farmer. But then on the other side, my grandfather was actually, I think it was something to do with the Ministry of Agriculture of Northern Ireland, and it was something to do with like setting slaughter standards and like maintaining them. Yeah. So like, to him, he was just like, you know, there's nothing worse I could have really have done. Do you know what I mean? And he obviously didn't, he didn't really see animals as like animals. He just saw them as products. Meat. It was just like a thing. So he just really didn't get it at all. So yeah, quite a bit of embedded agriculture to deal with.
So did they initially think that, oh, here she goes, it's like a rebellious thing, she's just doing it because she's gone to that London and she's mixed with the wrong crowd, and she's just trying to put one over her family, that kind of thing. You know what I mean?
I think maybe, you know, I've had pink hair for quite a while as well. They probably thought that was a phase. But I think when they saw like how serious I was about it, and it wasn't just, you know, for a while, I think they then realized that no, this is actually something that really meant quite a lot to me. And like, I truly now see it as part of like almost like who I am, and like my mission in life is to like, you know, get this word out there. But yeah, I'm sure it is difficult, and I'm sure it's not the best. I mean, my dad did once say to me, he was like, you know, I'm happy with what you're doing and you're obviously doing great, but like, can you try not to embarrass me in front of my farming friends? And I was like, Dad, I really can't guarantee that, to be perfectly honest.
Have you ever done that?
I mean, I don't know if any of his farming friends follow me. Yeah, no, I mean, I've not done anything like in the actual farming community, because obviously I live in London, so I'm not like out there.
Yeah.
We did rescue 3 sheep during the pandemic, 3 lambs from a local farm. But I don't think Dad knew this farmer. And whenever he saw me, this farmer took one look at me and he's like, "You're one of these vegans, aren't you?" And I was like, "Yes, confirmed.
Yes, I am.
I'm here."
You've got pink hair. Clearly, I am vegan.
Yeah, exactly. It's the pink hair and nose ring that everyone always tells me anyway.
Brilliant. I love
That's
that.
brilliant.
So, obviously, like on the family side, that was quite a big, a massive deal. What about friends that you'd grown up with? Because you said, well, I suppose back in Northern Ireland, that must have been quite a thing as well.
Yeah, I mean, again, like a lot of my friends have left Northern Ireland now and like went to uni in other places, and so I guess they've heard more of veganism and stuff. It's a lot less of people who like stayed at home and are like, "Oh, what are you doing?" Most of my friends were just kind of like, "Oh yeah, cool. Like I eat vegan
Yeah.
sometimes too." Like it's a bit more chill. But yeah, there was no one who was really like, "Oof, what are you doing?" So that aspect was kind of fine for me, luckily.
Sure. Okay. So tell us about the Instagram and the YouTube channels then, because you've gained healthy followings on both.
Yeah. So actually, I think my YouTube is probably my smallest, but it's my Instagram and my TikTok that are decent. Like I said, I kind of started off with just like showing products that I found, because I felt like when I first went vegan, I was like, gosh, like what can I eat? Like I remember almost one time I was feeling very sorry for myself and just like trying to go around Tesco being like, what can I have here that is vegan? And like, I guess I was thinking more of like convenience foods, because when I was first new to it, I didn't know what to cook. And I was just like, I would really like just like a sandwich or just something. But there was nothing. And I was literally in the aisles of Tesco almost like crying, being like, what am I going to have? This is so annoying. And then I was kind of like, come on, like you can just have like beans if you really have to. But because of that, I was like, okay, there must be more products out there that other people are looking for that I can show. So I started off just by showing that, and that was getting a bit of traction. And then eventually I started talking about the fact that I lived on a farm and that kind of stuff, and just kind of, I guess, telling my story. And then that also filtered into like my London life, like where do I eat when I'm in London, and doing restaurant reviews and all that kind of stuff. Because again, like if you're out with a group of friends and you're the only vegan, it can sometimes be kind of difficult to be like, what am I actually going to eat? Like, where can we go that the whole group can go? Or, you know, are there any vegan restaurants? So I did that kind of aspect as well. And that has been really popular, which is cool. Sometimes I do dance routines because people like to see people doing random dance routines. And I just put like a little vegan. I mean, apparently this one can.
Too weak to
But
dance.
then I just put like a little vegan message. Exactly. I'm so protein deficient that I can't even stand up. But yeah, so I would just put like a vegan message over it. Yeah,
Nice.
exactly. And then people would kind of like enjoy the dancing, but have a vegan message over it. And yeah, I've just been like trying out a variety of different things. Recently, I've gone a bit more, I don't know if you would call it hardcore, but like a bit more kind of forward with what I'm saying in terms of like animal agriculture specifically, because I guess I just figured like I actually have an inside track on this information. Like I actually know what it's like to be on a dairy farm. Like a lot of people will say to me, you're spreading false information. And I'm like, no. I actually lived on a farm. Like I have witnessed this happening. Like this is not false information. This is the truth. And this is from a small dairy farm, not a big scale operation, small local farm. So that's why I sort of thought if I lead into that, then I can actually give information that other people don't have access to. So yeah, kind of just
Fantastic.
took it from there, really.
And that's often the thing people say, oh yeah, but I only buy from small local places because, you know, they're so much better. And you've obviously grown up knowing that that's absolutely not the case. I mean, they might be better, but they're still bad. I mean, it's a sliding scale, really.
Yeah.
Isn't it, of badness.
The end product is still the same.
Exactly.
That's
if
it.
the end result is still a slaughterhouse, it's like, well, how much better can we really be?
No, that's it. No, I had a conversation at work the other day, and someone, I can't remember all the ins and outs, but at the end I just said, does the cow get killed? They were like, well, I was like, yeah, you don't need to say any more than that. I know it's going to be, well, yes.
Yeah.
The cow
Yes.
gets killed
And
in the end.
I love them arguments, because when you get to that point when they think you've got you over a barrel, and you just go, but does the animal die? Yeah. Well, it doesn't work then, does it? No matter
Exactly.
whatever argument you give me, it's bullshit because the animal died.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly. But then again, some people don't actually care about that. Some people are like,
Yeah.
No.
that doesn't matter. So they think if the standards are better while it's alive, then it's fine. And I'm like, yeah, I don't agree. And also this whole
No.
humane slaughter idea. I'm like, okay, so tell me what that looks like. What's that method? Please describe it. And no one can ever describe it.
No, this is it. It's
I've got a hoodie that says
the
human
way they put
slaughter is
humane in
more.
there. Go on, Wes.
I've got.
Sorry,
I've
Wes, I
got a
talked over
hoodie
you then.
that
Go
says-
again.
Sorry, stop it. I've got a hoodie that says humane slaughter is an oxymoron. And I've had it where someone's gone, what does that mean? I'm like,
Oh.
come on, bring it on.
Let's
Here we
go.
go. Take a seat.
So when what year was it that you made the change?
2017, 1st of January 2017. So it's 7.5, I guess, years now.
Yeah.
Mad.
Wow. That's amazing. So do you think anything like changed for you, like physically or mentally?
I wouldn't say physically. I think people assume that I look like this because I'm vegan. I'm like, no, I just look like this because I'm me and I'm Irish. And they're like, you're so pale and unhealthy looking. I'm like, no, that's just the Northern Irish skin. Thank you very much.
Oh my
And I also did have pink hair before I was vegan and the nose ring. So I've looked the same.
I had it in my head you were going to say I had pink hair before I was born.
It was pink hair in the womb. Yeah, exactly. Before I was born,
know.
pink hair. I wish. I wish that was actually a thing. But no, I wouldn't say anything physically has changed. And like, you know, the point of like, oh, if you go vegan, you'll lose loads of weight, I just don't think is true. It's perfectly possible to be an unhealthy vegan as well. I mean, Oreos are vegan, let's be real. Like you could just eat snacks the whole time. Exactly. So
yeah,
no.
the thing, if you're eating ultra processed foods, it doesn't really matter if it's from animals or from plants. It's still ultra
Exactly.
processed foods, and it's still horrendously bad for you. The only difference
Exactly.
is no one gets killed for the vegan stuff. That's the only difference.
Well, exactly,
It's
so
still really
that's
bad for your heart
preferable.
and really bad for your body. Yeah, I mean it's preferable,
No, exactly.
but it's still not
Yeah.
not a healthy diet.
And so, yeah, I always say like a burger's a burger. It's not like we eat burgers. Meat eaters don't eat burgers thinking they're healthy. They just eat them because they like them. It's the same for a vegan. But yeah, so physically, I wouldn't say anything is different. But mentally, I would say that I feel a lot lighter. I think looking back, when I sort of looked at how I interacted with meat in general, I realized that I was actually quite uncomfortable with it. But I just couldn't really pinpoint why it was. Like I wouldn't like preparing it or like really touching it or anything like that until it was cooked, and then I'd be like, okay, that's palatable. So that kind of made me realize that maybe something was already going on where I was like, not really. And I kind of didn't eat meat that much like I would when I went out, but like at home I was kind of scaling it back anyway. But not having to deal with that and not having to think about the process that goes into creating meat. Creating, is that even a word, even a way to describe it? I don't know. But like that just makes me feel better mentally. And also I think knowing that like I'm doing as much as I can to reduce harm really helps my mindset. Like it really just makes me feel more positive because I'm like, I know I'm doing my absolute best. Like it's not perfect, and vegans can never be perfect because we're in a system that is exploitative, cruel, horrible, capitalistic. So we can't be perfect, and actually perfect doesn't even exist, but we're doing our absolute best within that system. And so that definitely for me makes me feel like, you know, better in myself, I think.
I don't know if you've seen on any of your comments on your Instagram, but there are some vegans out there that are perfect. I don't know if you've seen them.
Oh, I mean, I get that basically every day. It's like, you're a terrible vegan. I'm like, yeah, okay, come on,
Yeah.
pipe down. This is what makes people not want to
Yeah.
be vegan, is the standards that we set
Yes.
for each other. I'm just like, come on, guys. Like, and I do say it quite a lot. I'm like, I think it's better to have millions of people trying their best than one person or a few people doing it perfectly, because perfect just doesn't exist. But the vegan crew don't really like that when I say that.
No, they always
Yeah.
get up on their high horse,
Of course.
which isn't vegan.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's-
And then it's like flogging a dead horse. And
Oh no, we can't even do that.
Exactly, for want of a better phrase.
Yeah, it is really frustrating, and people have said to me before when we've been having discussions about veganism. Oh yeah, but what about vegans attacking other vegans? And I'm like, yeah,
Legit.
it's really shit. It's so frustrating. We should all be on the same side.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
Yeah, I'll have
There we
a
go.
discussion or an argument with you because you're on the other side of the fence. But when we're on the same side of the fence and we're still fighting amongst ourselves, that's
It's like,
ridiculous.
come on, guys.
Yeah.
Also, like, it
Come
just
on.
takes all sorts for a movement. Like, I feel like you need all the different types of vegans. So, like, the health vegans, which I'm definitely not one of. You know, people who are more into, like, doing the vigils and, like, the street activism and all that stuff. That's not how I do things. I do things via video and kind of, like, trying to make it fun and interesting and whatever. But I feel like it takes all of us. Instead of arguing with each other, we should just be like, cool, you do you, I'll do me. Fine.
That's it. Yep. Live and let live, I think, is the carnists call
Well,
it. isn't it?
exactly.
live and let live humanely.
Exactly. As long as it's humane.
Got it. You got it. Okay. All right, Sarah, what's the best thing about being vegan?
Ooh. Well, even though we were just speaking about vegans fighting with each other, I would actually say the community that I've kind of like fostered amongst that, I would say is probably the best thing. Like, I've made some of my best friends to date in the vegan Instagram community because we do have shared values and shared interests and that kind of stuff. And like, you know, we want to go and eat at the same restaurants and try the same foods and stuff like that. So that aspect to me has been really fun and like nice to see that kind of develop over time because yeah, there's obviously negative sides to it and negative sides to having a public profile. But with that also comes the positives and like meeting really cool, nice, interesting people. So yeah, I would definitely say that to me has been the best thing.
Awesome. Who are these cool people? Because obviously me and Wes are cool, but
They're not. Well, apart from yourself, they're not here.
Well, I actually do have a few pages that I want to shout out that are food creators that are pages that I actually like. I know the people, but I follow them and actually use their recipes because, you know, there's the internet is saturated with these kind of things, but like these are ones that I actually personally use. So Eat with Ebbs is one of my favorites. Ellie's Plate, Soph's Plant Kitchen. She's like a personal trainer and chef, which is cool. Then Fitzy, who does like loads of recipes and all this kind of stuff. And then the last one that I just want to shout out is Jacob King. And I've followed him since the beginning. He used to be called Peng Vegan Munch and he's just changed it to his name now. But really simple, easy to follow recipes, but all sorts of different cuisines, which I just love because like, you know, one night could be Korean and then it's a burger and then chicken wings made of mushrooms and, you know, all this kind of stuff. But all of those pages, I actually save their recipes. I actually use them and they're all lovely people and like super nice. And I've met them all at events and that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's cool to have like, you know, people who you use the things that they actually do, but they're also great people.
Yeah,
oh, brilliant. Awesome. It's really important to find your tribe, really, isn't it? The people that you can lean on and learn from and share things with, and they can share things with you. Yeah, it really makes a difference.
And obviously on your Instagram account, you said about that you share products and stuff. So what is your do we go out of everything, or what's your favorite vegan product right now?
Ooh, so I have a few. I'll maybe do a couple of different categories. So in like sweet treats, so I'm not thinking healthy. This is just like things I love. There's a chocolate brand called Oh My Choc, which is just one person, Roz, who's cooking in her kitchen and making the most incredible chocolate you'll ever have in your life. Like vegan or not, it's just unbelievable. And I actually saw her just now at like an event at a brewery, which was a vegan event, but loads of people were just rocking up to the brewery because they go there anyway on a Saturday. And people were just going wild, like queuing so far for this chocolate. She makes like these little truffles with Biscoff and stuff in them and like Tiffin bars. And oh my gosh, Oh My Choc, literally. so good.
Fantastic.
And then like, if I had to say like my best supermarket available vegan cheese, because cheese is such a tough one to crack. I'm sure both of you know, like it has been nightmarish, but I've tried them all. I've been through them all. Cathedral City, plant-based, but the extra mature. If you haven't tried that, amazing. You can get it, I think, in like Sainsbury's and Tesco. And it's roughly the same price as the normal cheese, which makes me happy as well, because people are always complaining about like price and it not being fair. But it is unbelievable. It melts perfectly. It doesn't like stick to the roof of your mouth in that really weird way that a lot of vegan cheeses do. And
What
like
is up
it's
with that?
portable. Yeah, what is up with that? Like, why? What's happening? I'm just like, yeah, I can't even breathe.
Can't get it off.
Yeah, like what the hell?
I can't breathe. Help me.
Like, yeah, like, am I gonna die right now? Is that what's happening?
I know it's not healthy, but I don't want to die eating it.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that is one. But I also love in London. There's a place called La Fromagerie, which is a vegan cheesemonger.
Yeah.
Amazing, and like you can go there and try them, which is so good because you obviously don't want to commit. These products are like, is it artisanal? Is that how you say that? Artisanal.
Mhm. Yeah. I
You
thought
don't.
it was artisanal first, but someone corrected me quite quickly. That's a different
Yes.
thing. Don't Google it.
That seems different.
Jesus.
Artisanal, they're more like fancy cheeses that you might have for
Yeah.
like a cheese board or something like that. But you obviously don't want to like spend loads of money on it if you're not going to like it. So I love going there and like trying them and stuff like that. So that is one of my top tips. And then like if I had to go for a meat replacement, like I don't eat them that often. But if you're just looking for like a bacon, let's say, I love La Vie, which is a
Yes.
kind of new, and on the packet it says something like made from plants, not ass, which I love.
Had it on. give it
Oh,
to
that's-
me.
Have you got Vivera there?
That's
What's that one?
Vivera.
Sorry, ignore me. Hopefully our editing department will get rid of me.
Yeah, we'll flag this bit up and we'll get them on it. Yeah.
Exactly. And then for sausages, I go for Richmond meat free. Richmond have done a
Yeah.
very good job. They're very like juicy. It's a bit weird,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah. And then for vegan chicken, I like This UK. I think that's one of the best vegan chicken brands. But yeah, those are like my top tier. Find it in the supermarket. Apart from the chocolate one, you would buy the chocolate online or
Mhm.
at an event if you saw Oh My Choc there. But yeah, those are my kind of go-tos when I'm looking for that kind of stuff.
Love that.
Awesome.
That's great. We'll tag all of those in the show notes so that people can find their way. That would be awesome. Okay. What advice would you give to anyone who's thinking about going vegan?
So I think the thing I mostly say to people is like, start small. Like it doesn't need to be all or nothing straight away. And like we said before, the vegan brigade will be all over me for saying this. But the reason I say it is because if the aim is for longevity and it's for actually sustaining it long term, I feel like that's a better approach, because sometimes when people go all or nothing, they just get intimidated, they get overwhelmed, they're like, what on earth am I doing? And then they stop, they give up because they're like, it's too difficult. Whereas I think if like you start with your, I don't know, morning tea or coffee and have your try a plant milk, see if you like it, try making some of your favorite recipes, but just switching out the animal ingredients into plant ingredients, just doing things like that. Like even if it was one meal a week to begin with, then once you start getting used to it, you build up momentum and then you can keep going and you can actually sustain it long term. So that's kind of like my best piece of advice, I think. I actually did personally go cold turkey, but I did find it overwhelming. And I kind of maybe wish that I tried to sidle into it a bit. I mean, obviously I'm still here and I'm still vegan. But yeah, I think that's the best advice.
Yeah. I think that is good advice. Like, something like a spaghetti bolognese is so easy to veganize. You just use vegan mince instead of cow mince and you're done. That's it. That's the only, or certainly in our house, that's the only thing we had to change apart from the cheese that you sprinkle on the top. That's it.
Exactly.
And
So
that's
easy.
one meal that you've done with no thought whatsoever. And vegan mince is cheaper than cow mince anyway. So it's...
I think that
it's
people
an
get
easy win.
really, they get worried that like they're going to have this whole new repertoire of all these foods they've never heard of. And they're going to have like a list this long of things they need to get. And I'm like, you don't need to. Just, start with things like you said. Just start with your bolognese, switch one ingredient. There you go.
That's it.
Yeah.
You,
Because me and Matthew went cold turkey like yourself. And you did, didn't you, Matthew?
I was probably about 2 weeks, just sort of finishing stuff off
Yeah.
in the fridge.
But even then,
that was
there was times that I made mistakes. You end up you accidentally put like dairy milk in your tea or coffee, or I went to Pie Minister in Manchester pie shop, and they put dairy cheese sprinkled on top of it. I was like, well, I just paid for that. So
Yeah,
I was only a month in, so I was like, it's a mistake. It's okay, and it's about not beating yourself up.
exactly.
If you I completely agree with you. That's my point. That if you do go in full on in the beginning, it can be overwhelming, can't it? And it's you either don't
Big
beat
time.
yourself up about it or just take your time.
Yeah, exactly.
And you said about having a whole new repertoire of things that you eat. I'm at that point now, but that took ages
Years.
and ages.
Yeah.
You couldn't. If someone had said to me, right, starting tomorrow, you're going to be cooking, completely different things, eating tofu, I would have been like, no, I'm out. Eating
forget
tofu,
it.
eating tempeh, all kinds of stuff. I would have been like, that I can't do that. It's too hard.
Yeah,
But it's
exactly.
gradual
And if
steps,
someone had said
and
to me,
before you know it,
exactly, if
Yeah.
someone had said
Go
to
on.
me the words nutritional yeast, I would have been like, goodbye, I'm finished.
Why would I put that on instead of cheese?
Do you know what I mean? However, I'm a complete nutritional yeast #1 fan now.
Oh,
I put
yeah.
it on every
getting
single meal, and
withdrawal
every
symptoms.
vegan does, right?
Yep.
But like, if you tell that to somebody who's an omnivore, they're like, "Yeah, you're cooked. I'm good, thank you."
Yeah. Why are you putting skin flakes on your food? That's what it looks like. It smells like feet and it looks like skin, but for some reason it's
Oh my
delicious.
Oh God! Anyone listening to this now doesn't want to eat nutritional yeast.
Yeah,
Honestly.
sorry to nutrition yeast producers,
God.
but I do love it.
Yes,
Love.
we had a guest on that bought kilogram bags of it.
2 kilogram bag, yeah.
I
It's
feel
like-
like I could be going in that direction for sure.
It's a bit
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like a mattress-sized bag of nutritional yeast.
I love it.
So who's your vegan inspiration?
So I was thinking about this, and like, there's so many people that I think are really inspiring in the vegan movement for sure. But I've got a couple again that I actually follow and like kind of watch what they're doing, and one of which is a doctor called Dr. Gemma Newman. I don't know if you know of her. I met her actually quite recently. She's an NHS doctor, but she uses kind of like plant-based and wellness ideas to kind of help her patients get better health outcomes. And I just think that's so amazing and so inspiring. Like, she's often like on her stories talking about, what ailments and things her patients are dealing with and how she's actually helping them and helping them move towards a healthier and often plant-based lifestyle, which I just think is amazing, and amazing to hear about some of the outcomes that she's had. She's actually written a book recently which goes through a whole lot of the case studies, like what they came in with, where they are now, all that kind of stuff. And I just think that's amazing, especially as people are always like, oh, there's no science to back this up. I'm like, there definitely is. And like, Gemma is an actual trained doctor and seeing it happening in real life. Like, you cannot refute that. So she's one. And then I also really enjoy following this climate activist who's also a vegan called Michaela Loach. So she's really involved in loads of like speaking out about the climate. Like, she often is doing protests and all this kind of stuff, like in all different aspects of the climate, but she's also vegan. So I just think that's quite cool that that's the direction that she's gone for. Because I actually did start going vegan originally because of the climate. Cowspiracy is obviously a climate focused show. And then lastly, and this is kind of like the OG for the OG vegans, Earthling Ed.
Oh yeah, of course.
Because when I first went vegan, he was one of the people that I was watching all his videos, kind of like listening to what he was saying and stuff. And I just feel like he's so calm in the way that he debates with people. Like, sometimes you see vegans just going so hardcore and they're like shouting at people and they're showing slaughterhouse footage, and that's never been my approach, and that was never Ed's approach. And like, you can just see how huge a reach he's now getting, and like how many people will have like potentially changed their habits because of him. I just think that is a really inspiring way to be, and also to remain so calm in the face of what people say to him. I'm like, I need to channel this, because I'll be sitting on my phone like, like trying to just stay calm. Like, channel Earthling Ed.
Yeah, it's quite incredible how he's got that just sort of serenity.
Yeah.
Like you say, despite whatever anyone is saying to him, he's just like, I guess,
Cool.
he's heard it all before. He's very well read up on it. He knows what the argument is going to be before it even begins.
Exactly.
And he already knows what his answer is. It's quite incredible.
Exactly.
to
And
watch.
I kind of like the moment where he sits back and he goes, "Tell me more about that."
Yeah.
Because you just know that he's setting them up to
It's
basically
like,
hang
you
themselves
just
as like a.
keep
Yeah.
you keep digging
Keep
that
digging.
hole, and if
Yeah.
you're lucky, I'll pass you a ladder.
Exactly.
And teeing them up
Fantastic.
just to go, but an animal dies, doesn't it?
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. that's it.
exactly.
Does
how
an
we
animal die at
start
the end?
Because if you're getting into a heat debate, just bring that in, and they have no comeback on it.
Exactly.
If they do, just slap them. Fine.
And that's quite the opposite of what Earthling Ed does, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, Sarah, what's your favourite vegan venue or restaurant?
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Okay, so this is actually really hard for me to pin them down because there are
Yeah.
so many, but I'm really lucky because I live in London. But I will give you my top 3, I think I'm going to go
Okay.
for. So
I did think you were going to say
Jam-
10 then, so 3 is fine.
yeah, top 10. No, just 3. So one of them is Jam Delish, which is a 100%
that.
vegan Caribbean restaurant. And it's had rave reviews. I actually know the founder, and they started off as a family-run business. They started off as like a food stall at London markets, and it's now a full-blown restaurant. And like the Guardian has reviewed it, the Independent, all sorts. Celebrities have been there. Like they're doing so well, and I just love to see it. It's amazing. Plus the food, incredible, absolutely amazing. So love it there. Another one, slightly different, is Mali Thai or Mali. I don't really know if my accent is pronouncing that correctly, but it's like a family-run Thai restaurant, all traditional Thai food, but fully vegan. And they do really good like mock fish and stuff like that in curries. And they're also really good at giving, like, if you ask them, like, you know, what should I order? They're really good at recommending stuff, which I love, just like getting the actual advice on what to order. Amazing. And then lastly would be Club Mexicana. I don't know if either of you have been there, but it's a fully vegan Mexican restaurant. And they do Taco Tuesday, where it's all you can eat tacos for like a set price. I think the most I've had was, did I maybe have 8? I don't know if I managed to get through 8. I feel like that sounds like a lot, but yeah, they are unreal. They're so good. My favorite one is the barbecue short rib taco, which they've done like a, you know, short rib, obviously in inverted commas. And it's made from jackfruit, I believe. But I've taken so many non-vegan friends there, and they've just been blown away. They've been like, this is so good. And I love that. I love getting like the kind of confirmation, because I haven't had meat in 7.5 years, so I wouldn't actually really know at this point. But to have somebody else who eats meat be like, this is out of this world. So yeah, those are my top 3.
Love it.
Awesome.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. We'll add those to our Google map of all our guest recommendations. Because I don't think we've had
Our amazing geography department have
our
solved the
geography
problem.
department.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think we've had any of those 3 before, you know.
No.
They're all brand new.
Yay, awesome.
Do you ever feel dystopia?
Wait, what?
The feeling,
Was-
the feeling that the anguish we feel of living in a world of carnists, and that nothing's.
Ooh. So I would say that I do, but I'm quite like an optimistic person. Like I always still feel like there's hope. And like a kind of phrase that I can't even remember who said this or where I read this, but this kind of like makes me feel like there could be hope. It's like when someone said, it's just one plastic straw, said 8 billion people. The idea that like you think you're just one person, but if everybody's doing the same thing, then that creates like a massive effect. So like similarly in the opposite direction, like I might think I'm just one person, but like actually my actions could impact a whole series of people who then start, you know, changing their habits. And by then everybody kind of coming together, eventually I think change will happen. And so like, yes, obviously there's the kind of negative aspects, and I do see things all the time about, you know, vegan products being in decline and stuff like that. But at the same time, there's other voices that are louder talking about like kindness and willingness to change and all this kind of stuff. And I feel like if we all keep going, then eventually our influence will spread and we will see like the decline of these industries eventually. And I'm pretty sure actually that like one of the leading economists in the UK said that the dairy industry would be gone within about 7 years. So I'm just waiting.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, let's go.
Yeah.
7
I hope
years.
so.
We're already seeing that, aren't we? There's quite a few like dairy industries, not just farms, whole industries in like there was one in Canada last year. There's been a couple in the US. There's been many in this country. You know,
definitely.
it
And like,
is starting.
I also think that you know, we were talking about the fact that we live in a system that's not set up to be vegan and all this kind of stuff, and it is very capitalistic. But on the opposite side of that, supply and demand is a real thing. You know, people want to make profit. So if the demand changes to non-dairy products, then non-dairy products will become more popular. You know, supermarkets are already carrying less dairy products. They're already carrying less. I think like Sainsbury's closed down all their fresh fish aisles because it just wasn't getting any traction. So like as people demand more of these products, the more we talk about it, then things are just going to change. Like as much as people don't want to believe it, it's happening. So yeah, I think I still have hope that we're moving in the right direction. And like actually a good example for me is my family, because if you think about it, my family are a family of farmers, and like they may never be vegan, but they've definitely changed a lot of their habits, and like they now see things in a different way. And if it's possible for them, it's possible for anyone.
That's a great point. That's it. So people who have it's been their whole life can still look at the argument in an objective way and say, okay, well, like you say, I'm not going to go vegan, but I'm going to make steps towards it. And really, the thing that's going to get it over the line is people like that who aren't fully vegan, but are vegan enough to make it just not worthwhile people producing animals for food. That's the thing. It's just going to, in the end, it'll just be so economically unviable. They won't bother.
We can only hope.
That's it.
And
exactly.
Again, kudos to your dad and your folks and your family for supporting you, if nothing else.
Oh, for sure. And I'm definitely very grateful for that, because, you know, they could have gone the opposite way. I could have been completely excommunicated. So
could have been grounded, couldn't you?
It's like, come home from London now. You're in trouble.
Yeah, fantastic. No, I think the first post of yours that I saw was when you interviewed Molly Elwood.
Oh, yeah.
At some point last year. How did that come about?
So I actually was at a vegan event where I met somebody who was hosting her. She was visiting from the US, and he just mentioned to me, his name is Jake, actually. He does a lot of kind of like journalism and stuff around this area.
He's been a guest before.
Oh, has he? Yeah, exactly. And Jake mentioned to me that she was in town and was like, you know, maybe there's some way you can collaborate. And I was just trying to think, like, how can I do this in a way, like, because I didn't want people to realize that it was a spoof. Like, I wanted it to seem like it was real. So I didn't even meet her really before. We didn't really speak at all. We just kind of met, got the mics on or whatever, and then just set the camera rolling. And she just goes straight into character. And like, for anybody who's listening who doesn't know who Molly is, Molly, I guess you could say, runs a dog meat farm, as in like harvesting dogs for their meat. But the whole point of it is to make people think about their choices. And like, you know, if you replace the word dog with pig, she's describing everything that happens on a pig farm. And so that's kind of what the mindset I went into going into it. I was like, how would I talk if I was speaking to somebody who ran a pig farm? Because that's basically what it was. So yeah, and it was really fun because obviously she's in this character and she can be quite like mean. I was almost like, oh my gosh, okay. Like she was saying like, oh, are you going to come to my house and I try and serve you dog and you're not even going to eat it? How rude is that? And I was like, because you could imagine a farmer saying something like that. But like, obviously when you say dog, it sounds insane to us, but like, you know, in other countries they do eat dogs. So yeah, it was a very interesting experience. And actually those videos got quite a lot of traction because I think people were just like, what is happening here? Is this real? People were like DMing me being like, what is happening here? Like, is this real?
Amazing.
Fantastic. Yeah, we had Molly on nearly 2 years ago now, I think it was.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
A while ago. And yeah, she's just hilarious. And I heard her on another podcast that wasn't a vegan podcast. It was, and I think there were 3 hosts and one of them knew that,
oh my gosh,
one of them knew the background and the other 2 didn't. So she's on there talking about being a dog farmer and everything. And these 2 guys are like, what the hell is going on? We can't. And they were getting quite worked up. And then
oh my gosh, I love
the other guy said, I just got to tell you, this is all just like.
Because she says stuff like the picnic breeds, which is how she describes the small ones. I'm like, oh my gosh, that is horrifying. But you know.
was when she went to Crufts. She went to Crufts.
Yes,
didn't she?
Crufts.
She's like walking down like cages of dogs. And she'd be like, "Yeah, the stuff I could make with that one."
Yeah,
And I'm
Oh
like,
my gosh, I
God,
know.
that,
what are
that
you
would be a
doing?
good breed.
Oh,
Yeah, oh my
yeah.
gosh.
It's
He's a
hilarious.
legend.
Anyway, so now that we're on Riverside, I've got to try and work out the editing procedure to get our Elwood's advert onto the episode, because it was nice and easy on Zoom, but I'm not sure how. Anyway, that bit might get
The
clipped out.
technicalities.
And,
That's for the editing department. It's got nothing to do with
Yeah,
me.
yeah, I'll pass that
Yeah,
on to the
exactly.
editing department. Yeah, fantastic. Sarah, thank you so much. That's been really interesting. And you mentioned that you're on TikTok as well. Obviously, Wes and I are far too old for TikTok, but we'll have a look on there and try not to cramp your style.
No, not at all. Well, thank you so much for having me. It's been such a fun discussion. And yeah, I really appreciate you inviting me on.
No problem. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much. Yeah, and all the best.
Yes, you too. Wait, did we just hang up now? Is this it?
Oh, that's a great question. Do I just press start? I'll tell you what. I'll press start, and we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens.
There's nothing better than a hunk of prime Labrador steak, wonderfully marbled. And that is almost entirely dependent on how it's produced. Elwood's Organic Dog Meat has complete control of this entire journey. So I'm here at Elwood's farm to find out a little more about it.
Welcome to Elwood Farms.
Thank you very much, Elwood.
I hear you do a bit of barbecuing.
I do a little bit of barbecuing every now and then, yes. From a chef's point of view, consistency is key for everything.
It doesn't matter if it's a Rottweiler ribeye, a Pyrenees mince, or a Lab sirloin.
You can always tell when the dog comes from a place where it was well reared, and every step has to be right, doesn't it? Oh, you should see these guys. So, from an Elwood's point of view, there's complete traceability.
Absolutely, unrivaled traceability, so it's fine.
Every single piece of dog meat,
Yeah, from pub to farmer's market.
everything the dog's been fed,
Everything about it.
for each dog.
Yeah, only Marks and Spencer's and Whole Foods do this.
Where else can people order from?
From elwooddogmeat.com. That's ELWOOD dogmeat.com.
For top quality meat from dogs for people, meat that's local, sustainable, and humanely harvested, there's only Elwood's Organic Dog Meat.
They seem pretty friendly, don't they? They're more responsive to me than my kids, to be honest.
Anyway,
No,
Sarah
no.
was awesome.
Oh,
Sarah
she
was
absolutely was.
yeah, made me chuckle.
Yeah, really
Yeah.
great. And check out our Instagram for the for all her updates. And
Yeah.
why don't you tell us if you've enjoyed it? If you haven't enjoyed it, just probably keep quiet.
Just don't subscribe and don't get in touch. It's all fine. We don't really care.
We do care. Do we care? Yeah, I think we
Oh,
mostly
I
care.
I do care. Yeah, I care a lot. I care too much.
Yes.
Massive
Yes.
massive kudos to Sarah's dad for supporting.
Yeah,
her.
amazing. And to her, I mean, I think if I was in that position, all right, she's living in London and they're in Northern Ireland, but I think I would have found that so difficult.
Mm,
That phone call
yeah,
to say, I'm totally against everything you've ever done. I know as kids, often we do it, don't we? Like,
yeah.
I
Yeah.
got brought up going to church, and that's, that fell away. And,
Yeah.
my mum and dad still go to church, and my mum still holds out hope that somehow I'm going to, as she sees it, come to my senses and suddenly go back to church. It's not happening. But, but that's not anywhere near the same scale.
It's generations of livelihood, isn't
Yeah,
it? That's the
exactly.
thing. It's
Your
what
whole-
defines your family.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's that family. They're the dairy farmers and have been for
Yeah.
generations. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, she's like, "No, do you know what? Not only am I not going to be a dairy farmer, I'm also not going to do anything
To
to do
promote it.
with dairy." or meat.
Oh God.
Oh
yeah.
man, incredible,
Fair play.
incredible resilience. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. And if
Also-
you want to, go on. Sorry.
Also, in case the editing department don't manage it, there was a bit of a faux pas on statistics at the beginning.
Yes, that was a
Sarah-
deliberate error to see if anyone was listening. Paying
Yeah,
attention.
and Sarah hasn't got that many YouTube followers, but more Instagram followers because that's her thing, and that's just a bit of a slip up, but it's all good.
Yeah, and so surely that means if you're listening at this point, then, well, first of all, thank you. But secondly, go and subscribe to her YouTube channel, and then she'll get millions of new subscribers.
Yep, and then
I say
in the
millions.
future she can be as big as Ed Winters.
Awesome.
Let's make that
Awesome.
happen.
Yes. Okay. Right. Thank you very much for listening,
Thank you.
and we'll see you next time.